Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you're all doing well. And I'm at a Rhyhorn nest down at Boston Manor. As it turns out, this nest is very, very bad. I've been here for about 20 minutes now, and I've seen one Rhyhorn spawn. But ooh, there's another one that's just popped up on the nearby. Oh, it's the bowling club all the way down here, past everybody who's the rope doing their building works and stuff. So, cutting to the chase, I wanted to talk about a few more bits of news that have popped up last night. Of course, I uploaded my video late. Apologies, everybody who was expecting a video maybe at 8, came out like 10:30 at night. Basically, an update on how you can get Sinnoh Stones for the whole duration of Saturday the 22nd. Every set of Go Battle League battles you do will give you 2 Sinnoh Stones, whether you win or lose. So you just need to complete 5 Go League battles, Ultra League at the moment, and you'll get 2 Sinnoh Stones, which means you can earn 10. And assuming, because it's Community Day, you'll be walking around quite a bit, you should be able to get the distance to keep the battles going a decent amount. So that's very thoughtful, Niantic. Thank you very much for that. Anyway, let's go and get that Rhyhorn, shall we? Alright, this is technically second Rhyhorn of this nest. I think there might be another one that just popped in next to the playground, the sports ground, and the car park down there. 895. I'm basically just stocking up on a few to do trades with initially. I can hit it without doing too much work, which is alright. So yeah, that's the news about the Go Battle League thing. Is quite nice because you can get some Sinnoh Stones cheap. The other thing they've announced is, or somebody found in the code, potential new Safari Zones. We got that Rhyhorn. Fantastic 0-star, lovely to trade. And there isn't another one. That's great. There's a potential new Safari Zone happening in Spain. There'll be one in South Korea and, oh goodness, where was the other one? Let me check my notes. Monterey as well, which is cool because obviously we had like what 3 Safari Zones announced, 2 or 4, one in Taiwan, 2 in America, and the one in Liverpool. So there are some more in the code, which is nice, and they are getting special research. And talking of research, in the code, this is obviously hearsay at this point, but there's potential for completing a certain number of tasks, you know, research tasks from Pokestops, and getting Pokecoins. There's a little line of code saying completed certain number of Pokestops getting daily coins, which may be a new way to get some Pokecoins, which is always welcome. Just had a little walk under the M4. Lovely. However, did do a random trade with my spare account. Just thought I'll get the friendship. Try for lucky friends. Lucky 96% Rhyhorn. Not 15 attack, unfortunately, but it's sort of like prep. I have a hundo, have a 96% normal, now have a lucky 96%. It's sort of like one of those I didn't really think to keep any of, apart from having my maxed hundo from 2017, and then the 100% I got in a video, God, ages ago. There's the Rhyhorn. So I'm not bothering screen recording because, you know, we've got the Community Day literally tomorrow. I can't hit this thing. Anyway, I think I'll do a little bit more walking around here, get some candy, and then we'll do the egg news when I get back home when it's not so noisy. Actually, I forgot to say, the Friends Fest is now live. Went live at 8 AM this morning. As you saw in the little lucky Rhyhorn thing, trade costs are 50%, so if you want to get that shiny or that legendary, for example Rayquaza, I know one of you is waiting for a Rayquaza from me, it's going to cost you half as much. It's going to be like Ultra Friends 40,000 dust for a new legendary, so now is the time. The next 4 days, get your special trades in, get the legendaries that you want and you don't have, do it now. Now back at home, and on the way back, walking through Walpole, I did a slack off trade that didn't go lucky, hey ho, shiny slack off, and also got a full odd shiny Clamperl. Now I haven't had one of those since, crikey, the research day back, you know, this time last year, so that was something. It wasn't bad IV either, but I want to bring forth my own sort of viewpoint on the issue with these recent events. You know, some of the big Pokemon Go YouTubers have voiced their opinions on, you know, how Niantic seem to be forcing the element of hatching eggs down our throats at any given moment with any event of recent. I mean, going right back, I think I'm looking up now, the very first event of 2020 was a bloody hatchathon. From memory, that was quite good with the the adventure sync. You got something like 76,000 dust for doing 50 kilometers. I remember I personally didn't go very hardcore for the eggs at all. I don't think I bought a single incubator. I just used my regular infinite incubator. And then Piplup Community Day in January, that again was quarter hatch egg distance, I believe, as the bonus for that 3-hour window. So that's another egg thing. And then the lunar event, I thought the lunar event was a decent balance, wild spawns and hatching in eggs. That was sort of, again, forcing 7-kilometer eggs into your gameplay, to go and get Darumaka. That was quite good. Reduced egg pool, but then that's like, I'm having to do more incubators, aren't I, as a player? That's another egg event. After the Lunar New Year event, we then had the Sinnoh celebration event, where my Riolu video went a bit berserk. This is annoying, where I know I've seen trainer tips sort of state this fact, which is something that resonates with me as well. As soon as you put a shiny Pokemon or a Pokemon of extreme value behind the egg wall, you're immediately locking it behind money. The monetary aspect then becomes the only way to unlock that Pokemon, unless if you're using one incubator, how on earth are you going to get through? I think, how many 7-kilometer eggs could you realistically have got in that Sinnoh event? So you could open 20 gifts a day, and if you got 2, imagine you were ungodly, in luck, and you got 2 eggs every gift you opened. So that's 40 7-kilometer eggs. Your infinite incubator, how much distance are you going to need to walk to get that? It's not possible. If you walk a decent amount, you would be able to get maybe a couple of eggs with your infinite incubator. I actually did get some incubators for the Sinnoh event and regret it massively, because I hatched maybe 80, 90 eggs over the course of those 4 days, and the only thing of remote value that I got was a 96% Gibble. One Pokemon, which is extremely irritating. And then immediately after that, pretty much, we had the Valentine's Day event, which was pink Pokemon in 7-kilometer eggs. Happiny, again, a shiny lock behind the wall. However, because shiny Chansey was in the wild, I would say that's kind of balancing it out. The Valentine's Day event, I did not bother with 7-kilometer eggs whatsoever. The remaining Pokemon left in that egg pool for that event were crap. I saw people hatching Porygon. Why on earth would you want a Porygon from a 7-kilometer egg? I have no idea. Literally, as soon as the Valentine's Day event ended, we then had fossil Pokemon put into 7-kilometer eggs. 2 things I'm rather hacks off about, because you're limited then. Yes, you've got a limited pool of what, 9 Pokemon maybe? This is for an indefinite period of time. I've actually hatched a Turtuga out of a 7-kilometer egg. I thought, like, I've got an egg space, I'll open a gift and I'll put it in my infinite incubator and see what happens. And I did hatch a Turtuga, but then subsequently after that, I've hatched Aerodactyl, Omanyte. I've had an Omanyte nest on my doorstep for a month. So why the would I want an Omanyte out of a 7-kilometer egg? Having a shake up in the egg pool is fine, but it's after everything we've had like 4 or 5 events focused on mostly eggs. The Sinnoh event especially, that was locking shiny Riolu behind a paywall, which, yes, it's a baby Pokemon, there's no other way to get it, but like, give it a shiny boost. The odds of getting that shiny Riolu were like 0.0014%. It's just stupid how unlucky the eggs realistically are. It's too much of the same thing very, very consecutively, realistically. If they're better spaced out, these events, fine, but they haven't. Okay, pausing on a very unflattering frame, but while I'm editing this, I've just remembered one thing. The new style of events that they've got going on, when they announced at the very beginning of February what their layout was for these events, it was a bit ridiculous, in my point of view. We've become quite nicely accustomed to the length of time of maybe anywhere between a week and 2 weeks for an event, which was quite nice, because particularly if it's an egg-focused event, it gives you more chances, more time, more chances for people who maybe somebody who works and walks a lot can adventure sync and hatch eggs. Somebody who doesn't work, who works and sits down in an office, they can then get out on the weekend and do that. Niantic putting a very small window, like 4 days over the last sort of 3 events, is actually really irritating, because it's like you're really restricting the time frame for that shiny Pokemon window. And then you think like shiny Riolu, for example, was only realistically had that tiny boost. Now trying to get shiny Riolu out of an egg, it's probably even lower. So if they'd had the Riolu shiny boost for longer, Sinnoh event should have lasted for a week minimum, realistically. And it's something I would like to see Niantic potentially go back to, is doing fewer events but run them for longer, because 4 days isn't enough time. 4 days, you are really throwing something in, and particularly with your style now of having a spotlight hour in the evening, followed by a raid hour the next evening, and then a mystery bonus hour the next evening. It's too much, too fast. Just hang up, have a break, because not everybody can play all the time, and people will miss out on stuff and they will get annoyed. And personally, I got quite annoyed because the Sinnoh event, I would have loved to have had more chance to hatch eggs, but the gifts were unlucky. So I opened like 6 gifts in a row on the last day, and ran out of gifts to open and couldn't get any more 7-kilometer eggs to hatch. You're restricting then people to having to play by your calendar, not have a bigger period of time and let them suit it to their day. Anyway, back to me. It's just like, as soon as we finish one event with eggs where we've had massive disappointment, then Niantic go, here's another one, sucks to be you. Even me, I gave up on eggs. If it's a quarter egg distance in Community Day, I don't bother, because personally I find it irritating with an egg hatching where you could be shiny checking. Egg events, I literally never ever get the shiny. Never. Which is where I want to read you my egg stats. You've got to bear in mind that these egg stats are based off of a total number of hatched eggs. I obviously have no idea how many eggs I had hatched prior to there being shiny Pokemon in the game. So if we go here, now I have hatched in total since day one. I started playing on the 27th of July, so I was quite late to the game because I had to get a phone upgrade. I've hatched 9,222 eggs. When I did these calculations, my total egg hatching was 9,181, so I've only hatched like another sort of 40 or so eggs since then. If I searched hatched and 4-star, I've hatched 34 100%. 34 100% out of 9,181 eggs is 0.37% of my egg hatches. Not even 1%, 0.3. That's like 1/3% of my egg hatches 100%. Now if I research and go for shiny, now there's a little proviso with this because 2 of them are not mine. This one, the Aerodactyl, traded from Tom, and also this, also named Tom, this was, I couldn't hatch a shiny Togepi for the life of me. Traded one off Tom, and that's also hatched. So if we look at that, the hatched shinies, including those 2 that were traded to me as hatched shinies, 25 from 9,181 is 0.27% of that, which is just ridiculous. The whole mechanic of egg hatching, it's more time consuming and more labor intensive than just checking Pokemon in the wild. To try and hatch a shiny baby, for example, you have to hatch that certain Pokemon from an egg pool, and because it may be like a rare tier or an ultra rare tier, you're not going to hatch that as much as some of the common crap out of the egg pool that you're trying to search through, like the 7-kilometer egg pool. You're more than likely going to hatch some stupid Tyrogue, which can't be shiny, than trying to hatch, I don't know, like, don't get me started when there was the bloody regionals out of 7-kilometer eggs. The amount of I hatched 600 eggs getting that shiny Taurus. 600 eggs to get a shiny regional, and that was when people were like, you need to disclose the shiny rates of egg hatches. However, if I looked at this stat, so I went hatched 3-star to try and see like anywhere, but any Pokemon that I've kept that's hatched from 80% and up. I've now got a few more because I hatched a couple of eggs, and a few of them obviously are for trades or whatever. I'm keeping them for distance, so they will be binned off. But that's still only 2.4% of your egg hatches are actually Pokemon you would want to keep, which is utter madness. It's the fact that you're having to walk a distance to hatch a Pokemon that you don't know what it's going to be, and the shiny rate for that Pokemon is so low. It's not justified. There's a couple of ways they could make this better and more rewarding for you as a player. I mean, now, like, you know, my expectations for IV Pokemon and shiny Pokemon is so high because of playing for so long and having so many Pokemon. You know, for me, 90% of what I hatch is disappointment. There's two things they could do to make this better. One is make eggs harder to potentially get, so you swap it round. So you say, like, there's a much higher chance of you getting a shiny from an egg of a Pokemon, but you don't get eggs that often from Pokestops. I don't know how people would take to that, and honestly it would be a bit tricky because obviously then you'd fill up potentially on 7-kilometer eggs, but they probably reduce the rate from that as well. I don't know, that's something they could potentially do, because I would totally say it's really hard to find a 10-kilometer egg, but the chance of you getting like a shiny Gibble or a shiny Beldum or something from it is massively increased. The other thing they could do, which is something that people think they could implement potentially for just normal Pokemon encounters, is just the more you hatch, the more eggs you hatch, the more likelihood of you getting a shiny out of an egg. It's just an odds boost. Think of it as an odds boost. So the more eggs you hatch, just the higher chance of you getting a shiny from an egg. That's how it works. I would be fine with that, because then it's like, you know, there are loads of shinies, and you know, shinies out of eggs are going to have a mediocre chance of being good IV, so that's something they could potentially do as well. One of the simple things that people are asking for: can we please delete eggs? If you could delete eggs the same way that you delete Pokemon or delete items or delete research tasks, you can delete and change anything in the game except eggs. You are stuck with whatever happens to drop from a stop, which for me at the moment is solely 5Ks. Niantic need to chill on the egg front, because it has been solely egg. I feel like it's also because of the fact they've been testing these, you know, spotlight hours, and they've been doing these you know, mystery bonus hours, so they've been throwing Stardust bonuses in for an hour, so they're like, oh, we can't have a Stardust event, that would be a bad idea. No, have a Stardust event, mate. That would be quite nice, realistically, because Stardust, like I said in my Rhyhorn video, Stardust is an all-inclusive bonus. XP is only really related to people who need to level up still, or who are trying to just max out their XP total. And the egg bonuses that they give you are, you know, they're always like, you know, I hear people saying like, oh, it's a quarter egg distance, but like, I have one incubator and all I get is 5Ks. And I'm like, well, yeah, I feel your pain. That's how my egg hatching luck has been for a while now. Anyway, look, I'm going to hopefully get this edited up tonight, so I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. Make sure to subscribe if you are new with the notifications on, and throw a like on the video if you enjoyed it. How do you feel about the egg, I could do a pun here, the excruciatingly annoying events that have been happening, having had the whole fiasco of the Sinnoh event, and then, you know, hatching a load of 7-kilometer eggs and getting nothing from them? I am not inclined to do anything with eggs ever again. Also, on a final note, good luck tomorrow for the Rhyhorn Community Day. Make sure, there's a couple of other tips I would say, so set some timers to make sure you remind yourself to have your star pieces and lucky eggs on. Don't forget you can friendship level up twice as quickly at the moment, so anybody who is 2 days away from leveling up to Ultra or Best Friends, if you do an interaction, you will level up immediately. Do your battles, actually. I'm going to do my battles in Starbucks in the morning before I head into Community Day, although my Sinnoh Stone collection is quite large. I have about 26 now. Yeah, thank you very much for watching, everybody. Good luck tomorrow, and take care.